News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moscow.
Karen, we begin with the latest on the war with Iran. For the second time this week, the U.S. has gone after Iranian military targets as both sides struggle to move ahead on a peace deal. A U.S. official says 4 Iranian drones targeting a commercial ship were shot down and a launch unit near the Strait of Hormuz was hit. Iran says it targeted the bases in Kuwait where the U.S. attacks came from. All this as President Trump insists Iran wants to make a deal.
Iran is very much intent. They want very much to make a deal. So far, they haven't gotten there. We're not satisfied with it, but we will be. We will be either that or we'll have to just finish the job.
President Trump spoke at a White House cabinet meeting heard live on Bloomberg Radio. Bloomberg's head of Middle East coverage, Stuart Livingston-Wallace, reports the president may be in a bind.
Iran has shown itself to have an exceptionally high pain threshold, and I suspect does consider this to be an existential moment for the regime, and therefore, is not prepared to make a lot of concessions, if any concessions, from what we can see.
Bloomberg's Stuart Livingston-Wallace reports President Trump appears to be caught between Iran's demands for financial relief and end to attacks and Republican hawks who are urging him to finish the job or at least not sign a bad deal.
Nathan, now to the latest in the war in Ukraine. Volodymyr Zelensky is rejecting the idea of partial membership in the European Union. In a letter to senior EU officials, he argued that the country deserves full membership because its forces are defending the bloc from Russia. Here's Zelensky speaking through an interpreter.
We understand that much of the world's attention is currently focused on the war in Iran, but we must also end the war here in Europe, a bloody conflict that has now been raging at full scale for a 5th year. The sooner we can strengthen protection against ballistic missiles, the sooner we can make diplomacy work.
Zelensky's comments come after German Chancellor Friedrich Merz suggested Ukraine could be granted an associate membership as an interim step before a full accession in the future.
Well, now let's turn to politics at home, Karen. Congressional Democratic leaders have lost a bid for a court order to block the Trump administration from prohibiting mail-in voting for anyone who's not on a pre-approved list of citizens. A federal judge ruled that the Democrats' legal challenge to President Trump's executive order is premature because the restrictions haven't been put in place yet. The order would ban the Postal Service from sending mail-in ballots to anyone who's not on a government-approved list compiled by the Department of Homeland Security.
Nathan, the Trump Justice Department has reportedly opened up a new investigation into one of the president's perceived political enemies. And Bloomberg's John Tucker joins us with the latest. John, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Karen. The New York Times reporting the agency has opened a criminal probe into E. Carroll, the 82-year-old former magazine writer who won a civil judgment against the president that he sexually abused and defamed her. Well, this probe reportedly accuses Carroll of concealing financial support for her case from LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, who's a fierce Trump critic. The Justice Department has aggressively pursued investigations into President Trump's political targets, including the former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James. The acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche, reportedly has recused himself from this case because he represented the president in Carroll's lawsuit. In New York, I'm John Tucker, Bloomberg Radio.
Okay, John, thank you. And President Trump's filed a new version of his $10 billion lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal. The president sued the paper over a story last year that said he sent a bawdy birthday note to Jeffrey Epstein in 2003 with a sketch of a naked woman and his signature in the middle. A federal judge dismissed the president's case last month, saying it came nowhere close to the legal standard for a public figure to claim defamation. The new lawsuit accuses the Journal, its reporters, parent company Dow Jones, and Chairman Emeritus Rupert Murdoch of publishing the story either knowing it was false or with disregard for the truth.
Well, we turn to the economy now, Nathan, where investors and the Fed await a key reading on inflation. The PCE price index rose 3.5% from a year earlier in March, and economists anticipate an increase to 3.8% in April. We get more with Bloomberg's Michael McKee.
The data's central message will be clear. Inflation continues to rise well above the Fed's 2% target. The first question is, how much? Will headline cross 4%, double the target? And will core show a broadening impact beyond just energy? The longer inflation continues to move higher, the harder it will be for new Fed Chair Kevin Warsh to lead any effort to lower interest rates. Although the balance of risks could tip in that direction if the economy starts to slow significantly, we'll learn something about that with the personal spending figures also released today. Although the forecast is spending slowed in April, it's not collapsed. Michael McKee, Bloomberg Radio.
All right, Mike, thanks. Several tech stocks are on the move this morning, including shares of Snowflake. They are surging in the pre-market, up nearly 35%. The software maker signed a $6 billion multi-year agreement to use Amazon's cloud services and chips. Mandeep Singh is global head of tech research at Bloomberg Intelligence.
For a company like Snowflake that has a lot of big enterprise customers, to be able to use the Amazon distribution and the LLM integrations they have and integrate Snowflake's data for agentic functionality, that is how you make sure you don't get disintermediated. And I think that's why you see the positive reaction in terms of the stocks.
Mandeep Singh with Bloomberg Intelligence says Snowflake also gave a stronger than expected annual outlook.
Thanks, John. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.